Right guys, with the release of Logan, it's finally time to talk about X-Men! X-Men, directed by Bryan Signer, and is the very first movie in the 9, now 10 film running X-Men franchise. The one that started it all back in the year 2000, 17 years ago. Wow. Doesn't time fly, eh? So, X-Men tells the story of in a world of superpowered beings known as mutants from Marvel Comics. There's a clash of ideologies between humans and mutants. Humans are very prejudiced against mutants, and two mutants who become two unlikely friends, Wolverine and Rogue, team up and join Charles Xavier and his group called the X-Men, who have to take on Charles Xavier's former friend, Eric Magneto, who has formed a brotherhood. So it's up to the X-Men to take a stand against the brotherhood. Let's just say, a lot of people say that Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man film changed comic book movies forever, and in a way, it definitely influenced that. But people forget that this movie was the big turning point for comic book movies as well at the time it came out, because before this movie, in the 90s, oh boy, comic book movies were really suffering. The 1990s Captain America, the 1994 Fantastic Four, oh gosh, don't even go there. Until good old Bryan Singer came along and saved comic book movies for the better, because I really like this film. The original X-Men has truly stood the test of time and forever will. Oh my gosh, this truly did change the face of comic book movies. It's so underrated. I mean, I've seen people only give this film like maybe 3-star reviews, but it deserves a higher scores and more recognition than it gets. I mean, I can see why it is forgotten about in comparison to the X-Men sequels, considering this is the first film in the franchise, and it had the task of introducing the characters and setting up the universe. But even so, this film should be remembered more. It is better than some of the sequels. That is a fact. Even if this movie isn't the best in the X-Men franchise by any means, it is still great. And Bryan Singer, let's face it, he is the only director that could have ever directed X-Men. Thank goodness for him. I mean, Bryan Singer may not have made all perfect movies in his career, but he damn well knows how to do X-Men. If he'd have stayed throughout the series, then I believe all X-Men movies would be perfect. And what this first film does superbly to differentiate itself from the comic book movies from the 70s, 80s and 90s is that it not only does it brilliantly bring the comic book to life, you feel like you're in a comic book in every frame of this film, but it actually has a plot. It actually has subject matter. It's about something. It proves that comic book movies can tell mature stories and get you engaged, and they're not just fun, campy action films. I mean, it's such an engaging premise with the world not accepting mutants and mutants having to go into hiding. You really feel for them. You just want there to be peace between the two races, and both Charles Xavier and Eric, you really get where they're both coming from. You understand why they're doing what they're doing. So yeah, the motivations for all the characters are perfectly clear, and you can't even talk about X-Men without talking about how perfectly and amazingly it brought the X-Men characters to the big screen. Round of applause for all of the casting. Everybody feels like they've just stepped out of the comic book, because I love the X-Men characters. I love Wolverine, I love Rogue, I love Mystique, I love Storm, I love Beast, I love Nightcrawler, I love Professor X, I love Magneto, and everybody in the X-Men universe are all such classic, three-dimensional, iconic characters that I just want to hang out at the bar with all of them. Every single one, I really would. And yeah, Hugh Jackman could not have been better casting as Wolverine. He's played the role for 17 years now and hasn't lost any of his mojo at all. What an incredible achievement for any actor. And Anna Paquin, absolutely fantastic as Rogue, and Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, both flawless as Professor X and Magneto, and Halle Berry so kick-ass as Storm. Little did these actors know that they'd play these roles for just years to come. If they'd got the casting wrong, this would have really hurt this movie, but thank goodness fate was on their side. And what I love about these characters is that they all have such... not only are they so relatable and sympathetic and three-dimensional, they have great powers too. Who wouldn't want to just have claws come out of their arm, or control the weather, or shapeshift, or read your mind? Not only are their powers fun, but there's actual consequences to them as well. They because of their powers, they have been outcast, and they could hurt people with them. So their powers are both gifts and curses, which is such a compelling dynamic for a character to have. And as well as the story and characters being great, the action really stepped up from the superhero movies from the 90s. Thank goodness the action here is great, so you can actually see what's going on. It's fun, so creative, and even though this film was made back in 2002, the effects and action still holds up today. It hasn't aged, or doesn't look dated whatsoever. Just one action scene in X-Men is better than all of the action in Origins Wolverine combined. That's how good it is. As well as the action really being surprisingly brutal for its time. At the time, it was rated PG-13 in the US and 12A in the UK, and so yeah, nobody under 12 could see it, which was really surprising for kids, because comic book movies had really been considered kid stuff before this film came along. This film really brought a sense of maturity, and adults could appreciate it as well as kids. Yeah, the pacing is superb throughout the entire film. It does its job as a comic book movie. It's so much excitement and is never boring, as well as plenty of moments where we get invested in our heroes. And I love our hero's introduction as well. Yeah, this film did great with introducing this 10-film saga. I mean, I particularly love the freaking badass moment when Rogue meets Wolverine in the bar, where Wolverine just gets his claws out, puts his claws to the edge of this guy's throat, who was bugging him, and just slices the bar owner's gun in half. And Rogue, she's absolutely astonished by this, and she realizes he is just like her, and the two form a very natural bond from then on. It's character relationships like this that make the X-Men franchise so great, and I even like the music for this film. There's an iconic X-Men theme to it that will stay in your head by the end credits. And with that being said, as much as I'm showering this film with a lot of praise, you can tell I really like it. Is there anything wrong with the first X-Men? Well, not many, but if I had one little nitpick, I can see why, in a way, that not many people remember or praise this film as much as some of the great X-Men sequels like X-Men 2 or Days of Future Past, since this this film may suffer from being the first in the series, so it did have to take a lot of time explaining things and setting up the characters and setting up the X-Men universe, and and in the sequels, of course, they didn't have to worry about any of that. They could just jump straight to the action. But that's not too much of a flaw. That's barely a nitpick, and the story definitely improved and got better and upped the stakes by X-Men 2. So that would be really his only nitpick with this film. X-Men is a great movie. I still think that this film is severely underrated. I mean, people just call it a good film, but not great film, when it really is great. It's truly gave comic book movies now the respect they deserve. Without this film, comic book movies I doubt would be the same. Well, at least this film does have a 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it did do commercially well, so that's a bonus. And I think people really love the X-Men films because they're different from Superman and Batman and Marvel. They're actually about something. They actually tackle a topic that has never been done in a superhero story before. That's why people love it. It's so different. And if Logan can be as good as the best X-Men movies, I'll be satisfied. I give X-Men 4.5 stars out of 5. So yeah, greatly underrated. Definitely deserves to be ranked among the best comic book movies. Well, I'll put my glove there. I will be wearing my Wolverine glove throughout all my X-Men reviews for the upcoming Logans. So I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what do you think of X-Men? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. I love making new subscribers and making new friends and talking to you guys about movies. I really appreciate that. And stay tuned for my review of X-Men 2, which is actually even better. And I'll see you then. Bye, guys.